the criminal justice system. As I presented in the previous presentation last year, it is recommended that submissions be referred to the relevant portfolio committees or oversight bodies with the mandate to process them further. This approach, honourable members, will ensure that all matters raised by the public remain within Parliament's accountability framework and are directed to the institutional structures best positioned to consider and resolve. Honourable members, these I indicate are the overarching submissions that raises individual grievances and not directly related to the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi and also other witnesses that appeared before the committee. Honourable members, to start, I want to raise the submissions that was submissions made by civil society. These submissions provide a system-level perspective, which addresses, amongst others, the broader impact on public trust in the SAPS correctional services, the NPA, the criminal justice system, the judiciary, and national security. And this is as stated in our terms of reference, paragraph 4.1.15. Substantial submissions from civil society was received from Accountability Now, and this was provided through an affidavit. Secondly, the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum, or APCOF, the Institute for Security Studies, ISS, and the Dullah Omar Institute, ICJR, at the University of Cape Town, or the Western Cape, apologies, Gun Free South Africa, and Mr. Ramabuela. Honourable members, these submissions should be ideally invited for oral presentations due to their importance aligned to our terms of reference. It could be considered that these presentations be allocated 40 minutes each, which will bring a total time of about 4 hours. In terms of the substantive submissions received by the committee, these are not from primary witnesses and thus could possibly not require consultations as was made with the previous witnesses. Some could be invited or should be invited for oral presentation, while others could be considered as read. Oral presentations are not prescriptive in Parliament. However, it is definitely the best practice and strongly advisable for the committee, as the chairperson stated, to have the most pertinent submissions appear before the committee for oral presentation. Honourable members, I'm going to take you through the submissions that is highlighted for possible oral presentation. So I am making the names available today, and we have received or identified 15 submissions that could be heard by the committee. The first is from Ms. Patricia Mashale. The committee has previously engaged on this particular individual. Her actual submission does not provide much detail. It is bulleted issues, so it will be good for her to flesh them out in a hearing setting. Secondly, from Brigadier Lovani, he is the former head of the Secret Service account. He was dismissed for allegedly blowing the whistle on corruption in SAPS. He made a previous protective disclosure, and as I understand, he will also be a witness at the Nhlanhla Commission. Then thirdly, we had a submission from Captain Ramalepe and two others. They allege that drug cartels are operating within the police service, or as I've called it, force, and the related corruption reported by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Fourthly, we have Mr. Dotyeni. He is a former SAPS crime intelligence analyst, and he alleges political interference, corruption, and manipulation within SAPS leadership. He links these issues to the death of a senior police officer in 2021. This matter has also been previously discussed by members of the committee. Fifthly, we have Lieutenant General Matludi. As members know, he was one of the former divisional commissioners of crime intelligence. Through his attorney, he requested an opportunity to respond to allegations made against him during the ad hoc committee's hearings. Then next we have a submission from Mr. Nhlanhla, and for this we possibly need a consultation. Through his attorney, he submitted an affidavit and substantial evidence bundle, including a sworn statement and supporting documents. Moving forward, honorable members, we have a submission from Mr. Masakukwa. He alleges abuse of SAPS Crime Intelligence Secret Fund and the misuse of state resources. In the covert investigation of the Pala Pala farm robbery, implicating the President, the Minister of Police, and senior SAPS officials. It's a quite detailed submission and could be heard by the committee. Then we have a submission from Mr. Poro. He accuses senior NPA and IDEC officials of abuse of power, racism, and unlawful asset seizures, stating that he and his family was humiliated and impoverished. Ninthly, honorable chair members, we have a submission from Mr. Chetty. He reports multiple arrests and asset freezes related to fraud and money laundering allegations, claiming abuse of the criminal justice system. Honorable members, Mr. Chetty also had a recent media report or media article that was published, which can be, apologies, can be made available to the committee, in which he details his submission to the ad hoc committee. We have an anonymous submission. This can be either read or heard through the appropriate channels, like an in-camera appearance. The person alleges systemic corruption, extortion, nepotism, and abuse of power within the SAPS, implicating serious officers and external associates. He or she claims interference in investigations, the manipulation of disciplinary processes, obstruction of IBIT inquiries and protection of criminal activities. He also requests intervention and protection for whistleblowers. We also had a submission from Advocate Maremi. He alleges that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi lied under oath regarding the handling of a fraud and corruption case against Lieutenant General Mthuli, thus misleading the ad hoc committee's inquiry and the public. He seeks to clarify that the Mthuli matter was solely about vehicle transactions and unrelated to broader allegations of corruption. Advocate Maremi submitted a detailed affidavit. So next we have a submission from Dr. Rolls. It is suggested that this submission be read. He alleges to have evidence of involvement of police and the judiciary in mass criminal activities. He reports multiple arrests and asset freezes related to fraud and money laundering allegations, claiming abuse of the criminal justice system. However, this can also be heard as an oral presentation. Next, we have a submission from Advocate Mkhwanazi. He alleges, or his submission revolves around the lack of protection to whistleblowers in the SAPS. He also alleges factions in SAPS leading to unfair promotions and a wide abuse of the disciplinary processes in SAPS. We also had a substantive submission from Mr. Mia. He alleges a conspiracy involving SAPS, the NPA, and the judiciary to manufacture evidence and secure wrongful convictions. However, members should note that he is currently incarcerated, and caution should be noted regarding Parliament's involvement in criminal convictions. Lastly, honourable members, we have a submission from Honourable Mr. Mkhwanazi. This can also be read. However, it does provide a detailed account of alleged investigative failures, intimidation, and a lack of protection experienced by Municipal Oversight Office bearer following the referral of a corruption matters to SAPS. While the municipal governance aspect fall outside the committee's mandate, the submission has value in illustrating systemic weaknesses in SAP's investigations, follow-through, and whistleblower protection, and is considered as corroborative contextual evidence. Honourable members, if the committee could, at a minimum, allocate 40 minutes per individual for oral presentations. This can be concluded over 1 or 2 days. Moving on, honourable members, I just want to highlight regarding anonymous submissions and confidential documentation. We received 3 anonymous submissions, of which one was assessed as having high probative value. One of the the second anonymous submission was based primarily on hearsay, while the other related to a reported political killing and included claims of threats linked to anti-corruption activities and exposure thereto. Honourable members, this is a good example of a submission that could be referred to the police for investigations regarding the threat to the submitter's life, and also to have a report on the investigation that was conducted by SAPS on the reported political killing. We received no confidential or classified documents through the public participation process. Matters falling within the mandate of the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence will be referred accordingly. For instance, we have received a substantial submission from Mr. Painter alleging misuse of crime intelligence function. However, these allegations are not directly linked or aligned to the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, but again, it points to misuse of state resources, especially within the crime intelligence section of the police or division. Then, honorable members, we received quite a substantial number of submissions from former and serving SAPS members who report grievances related to unfair dismissals, irregular disciplinary action, promotions, and re-enlistment or reservist absorption. Honorable members, while these matters raise legitimate concerns about perceived labor practices within the SAPS and other government departments, Parliament's direct intervention in individual labor disputes is not advisable. These individual disputes fall within the judiciary jurisdiction of statutory labor dispute resolution mechanisms, such as the Triple SBC, the CCMA, and labor courts. However, the recurring patterns raised by the submissions remain important, and it points to a broader organizational concerns, notably the re-enlistment process, communication and feedback. That's quite a significant area within the SAPS. Limited pathways for community policing forum of CPF members and reservists to be absorbed into the SAPS as permanent members, ongoing systemic challenges in SAPS human resource management and allocation, and concerns regarding the application of disciplinary regulations, including allegations of the misuse of the expeditious dismissal process. Honorable members, just to note, the Portfolio Committee on Police have been engaged quite significantly in these matters, labor-related matters, as part of our strategic and policy-orientated basis on mandate. Honorable members, in conclusion, just to draw your attention, based on the public submissions, we are required to draft and adopt a public participation report, which will be published in the ATC for noting by the National Assembly. So it's not for consideration, only for noting. The public participation report will be very concise and factual in nature. It will not include the detailed submissions that was made. It will basically be based on the overarching themes that was identified through the public participation process. It will also then naturally also include the submissions that was heard for oral presentation, and the report will be prepared and adopted separately from the committee's final report, and will be drafted for adoption once the public participation process has been concluded. Thank you, honorable members. That concludes my presentation.
Ngola is not supposed to take over.
I didn't know the chair has disappeared. I think
January
let's
8th.
I think let's take the second presentation, honorable members. We'll locate the chair. Advocate Arensa, are you doing the second presentation?
Honorable Nola, yes, I don't know whether can I just ascertain whether the report that we were required to table, in fact, already on the 7th or 8th of December, which we did, has been made available to you. We were required to indicate a schedule of witnesses, amongst other things. I think it has been resubmitted to you.
Okay. Okay, can you hold on?
Yes.
Mr. Ramano, did you share the report to members? Was the report shared with the members?
Chair, the report was shared with the members.
Thank you so much.
I've flighted it now.
Thank you so much. You can proceed, Advocate Arens.
Thank you. We were guided by the witnesses. The Honourable Committee indicated we should consult with and prepare statements for the second part of these hearings, and they appear on the screen. We met in person with Lieutenant General Khumalo, Lieutenant General Pashlani, Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi, and Robert McBride, and we have interacted by way of email with Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, who has given to us a draft statement, which we will consult on Sunday to adjust it to accord with the terms of reference of the Honourable Committee. Mr. Mkhwanazi, we scheduled for Monday in an online meeting. You may or may not be aware that Mr. Mkhwanazi had either to indicated that he had security concerns, and these were between the time available in late December and now. They could not be addressed by Parliament. So we have agreed to meet with him and his lawyer online on Monday. As regards his appearance, whether physical or online, that will depend on him and the committee, I suppose. We had also interacted after this draft report was submitted on 7-8 December with the witnesses that I've indicated. We interacted with both with them personally and with their lawyers. Obviously, with the time of the year, there were difficulties with that, but I think we had worked up to about the 18th or 20th of December in working with these witnesses, having the consultations that we had with them, what's the word? The recordings, having that transcribed, sorry, and then preparing draft statements which have been exchanged. We are in a position to make the statements of Lieutenant General Khumalo and Lieutenant General Pashlani available by the end of this week. Pashlani probably by Saturday. So we would be in a position to proceed with their evidence as now indicated on the 14th, 15th, and 16th next week. The following week, we scheduled Mr. McBride and Mr. Mkhwanazi, and the following week, O'Sullivan, who will be interviewed online. I think he's in London at the moment and had indicated that he'll only be back in the country, I think, after February. And besides, he had also indicated grave concerns about appearing in person because of the security situation. We had not engaged in the response to the question raised by Honorable Nomvalo. As regards the NPA, we had, of course, already interviewed the National Director of Public, or the former now National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Batoy. We had also interviewed Anthea Johnson, the head of IDAC. We had not engaged with any other officials, prosecutors, or anyone else at the NPA. As far as the judiciary is concerned, we had not identified any member of the judiciary to interview. And as far as my memory serves, I don't think the Honourable Committee had done so either. If identified, we'll obviously approach either such an official or judge or former judge if indicated. Yes, the emphasis has been somewhat on the SAPS because of the terms of reference focuses mainly on the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July last year, and that's been the focus of our work. As regards the presentation made by Nicolette, a number of these submissions had originally been directed to us, but we sent them on to the parliamentary technical team. They had sifted through, I'm sure, a couple of hundred, if not 1,000 public submissions, and Nicolette has provided the summary. We will engage with Nicolette and her team on these submissions. I don't have any comment on her summary that 15 or so possible oral presentations be made to the Honourable Committee, but I leave that within your discretion. Otherwise, Acting Chair, Honourable Chair, we are on track to present the evidence of let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 witnesses, and we'll see how it goes with Mr. Mkhwanazi on Monday if he survives January 8th. Thank you, Acting Chair.
But the last part, Senior Counsel. Thank you very much, Senior Counsel. I think we must commend the work you and your team has done in terms of consultations. 5 out of 6 is a sterling job. It does seem like the chair is not yet back, so we members were going to rotate as we have made it our tradition. And we're going to deal with both reports on public participation and on the timetable and the work done in terms of consulting the witnesses. And we must make consideration on the time frames and the extension that we've been given, and what needs to be done, and how do we prioritize, reprioritize, and all of that. So we're going to start with the ANC, the Honorable Sangoni.
Honorable Ngola, may I interject just briefly?
Yes.
May I request that Advocate Mkhize perhaps introduce herself briefly, and also that I will stay on, but if both Advocate Mkhize and Advocate Mkhwanazi be excused, because we do have some consultations planned now for this afternoon with some witnesses. Thank you.
That's allowed, Senior Counsel. Advocate Mkhize, can you please shortly or briefly introduce yourself to the committee?
Good afternoon, honorable members. As Arendse SC has...
With your video on, please.
Oh, with my video on, okay. Okay, I'm not sure if it's on.
It's on, but with issues.
Oh, I have no idea what is happening.
Kodwa mamkhize nokufika Nkosi yami. Sawubona.
Sanbonan. I don't, oh, it's picking up on my phone. Just, I'm really sorry, apologies about that. Let's switch it off. Okay. There you go.
Icathulo sizibonile.
Ngizibonile isicathulo, ngiyaxolisa kakhulu. Good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Bongiwe Mkhize, and I am a member of the Johannesburg Bar. I'm based at Group 621, and it is an honor for me to join this team, the legal team, as well as to work with you as the committee. So, ngiyaxolisa ngecathulo evelile.
Thank you very much, Advocate Mkhize. I think the shoes issue is not really an issue. It was just on a lighter note. We welcome you officially to the committee work. But just to brief you that here we work, there is no time for knocking off. We even knock off at 1 a.m. in the morning. So you must prepare yourself for such kind of an extensive kind of work. Thank you so much. Honorable Sangoni. We're back to rotation.
Honorable Acting Chair, may they be excused?
Yes, they can be excused to do their work. It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Sangoni, it's your time now for rotation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and let me echo your welcome to Advocate Mkhize. We can tell that she's a hard-working young woman. One of the shoes were off, so she's used to this late nights and things of that nature. Honorable Acting Chair, thank you so much. Let me thank the presentations that have been meticulously prepared for the committee, both by Ms. Nicolette as well as Advocate Arendse. Maybe I will start off on behalf of the ANC on some of the presentations, and then my colleagues will come in. On the issue of the public submissions, we've noted that we haven't had sight of the original submissions, but we do accept the report as presented by the Parliamentary Research Unit. We accept the bona fides of those submissions as summarized. We have also noted the recommendations that have been made, especially the ones of the civil society, and we request firstly that those original submissions be shared with members. When it comes to the individual submissions, there again, we're requesting the original submission documents, but maybe just to highlight a few issues. I don't know, members will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the issue of Ms. Patricia Mashale, we had discussed it when we were at Hoshimamburu, and the view of the committee was that it would not be necessary to call her at that point. Granted, this was based on the evidence that was before us, which was largely reference to her in relation to social media posts. If there's a feeling that there's been new substantive information that has since been brought, and that decision must be reviewed, we won't have a problem with it. But we had thought that we had dispensed with the issue of Ms. Patricia Mashale. So we're not really supporting her being heard, unless, as I said, there's new information that has come through. But even then, Ms. Nicolette did say that her submission is bullet points, so we're not sure about that. Chair, we also want to make a suggestion that where allegations or accusations are being made against individuals, it must be accompanied by a sworn statement before that is heard. And this is really to protect our work, from challenge. I know that a sworn statement is not necessarily a prerequisite for appearing before Parliament. But in such cases, we would think that whomever is making the accusation should be willing to depose an affidavit to that effect. And if necessary, anybody who has accusations being leveled against them should be afforded an opportunity to respond or right of reply. We accept the list that has been provided of the other 14 individuals who made submissions. Amongst them, I remember there was Advocate Mkhwanazi, General Mdluli, and a number of other individuals, Dr. Ross and so forth. We think those should be heard, and the committee should try and make the time available to hear those submissions together with the civil society. When we went through the submission, Chairperson, as the ANC, we felt that there were areas which we do have the numbers which we can pass through to the committee staff, but there were submissions that were dealing with matters of organized crime, crime intelligence failures, and I'm not sure if the ones that are proposed directly align to the submission numbers as we had captured them. So I will share those submission numbers. Now, they are not many, but we believe that if they were to be evidenced, they firstly provide collaborative evidence to some of the things that we've been hearing, but that they are so serious in nature that they should be afforded an opportunity to be heard. So I will submit that. And then finally, on the public submissions, Chairperson, where there are allegations of victimization or a failure in whistleblower protection, we think that we must be able to prioritize those. I think it's common cause that our laws and really our entire system of dealing with whistleblower protection is not sufficient, and we may want to hear from members of the public who have such issues that they would want to bring to the attention of Parliament. I think, let me stop there on the public submissions, Chair, but we support the recommendations that some of these matters must be referred to the relevant portfolio committees as well, specifically the portfolio committee on police on matters that relate to the subs. Chair, our understanding at this point, and perhaps other honourable members will speak to the matter. I don't think that there was a intentional sidelining or undermining or an attempt at circumventing, calling members of the judiciary. There has been a number of witnesses who would have made, accusations or statements against members of the judiciary, and it has been very difficult to get from the witnesses that have appeared before us who from the judiciary are these accusations being made against, except for the one judge who I think was in some high-profile case. So we hold no opposition to bringing members of the judiciary as and when those allegations are brought to them. But I think that they've been far between, and we obviously wouldn't want to just go on a witch hunt where no such allegations are presented, but we will support them being called when that information comes. Then, Chair, on the issue of the program and the witness list as presented by Advocate Arendse, I think the first thing we want to raise is that we do believe, as suggested by the chair, that General Phahlane should go first on the 14th, given the time constraints that were raised. We want clarity, and we vehemently reject at this point any consideration of online hearings. I think our terms of reference were very clear that the witnesses must present themselves physically before the committee. This relates to Mr. Paul O'Sullivan as well as Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. Now, the reasons that are being given, I think in one meeting we were told that Mr. O'Sullivan is abroad. I think sufficient time has been given to Mr. O'Sullivan to present himself before the committee. We would want that we consider and utilize any avenues that Parliament has to compel him to appear before this committee. We're not going to do online hearings. If Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, as this indictment that was sent to us shows, is able to impersonate an IPID member and do all sorts of things, there's absolutely no reason why he can't come before a Parliament of the people to answer for himself. So we reject any consideration of an online hearing for him. We don't think that the reasons provided are adequate given the gravity of the allegations that has been brought against him. And we would wish that the committee goes back to engage Mr. O'Sullivan and indicate it's the view of the committee that he must present himself physically. Similarly with Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, I don't quite remember the essence of the security concerns that he was raising. However, a number of witnesses have appeared before this committee. He himself has presented himself before Justice Nhlanhla's commission. So what security considerations would there be when he has to appear before Parliament? So we reject any consideration of an online hearing there as well. And then finally, Chair, on the issue of members of Parliament, I think it was Honorable Matheus who had raised it earlier. We have the same concern as the ANC. I mean, this is a matter that has been ventilated a lot in this committee, and I think the program should be adjusted to afford an opportunity for Honorable Collar Barnard as well as Honorable Adams to also present their evidence before the committee. Chair, I'm going to stop there, but I'm not sure if other members of the African National Congress would want to make any additions. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sangoni. Honorable Khanyane is back. Honorable Chair.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chair. Do you want me to opportunity to speak?
No, just a little bit of a brief, Chair. We have received the presentation from the Senior Counsel in light of.
I've been following that.
Okay, that's fine, Chair.
Yeah.
You can no, I'm fine. You can take over now. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Sangoni has concluded, and let me thank you so much for steering the ship. Can I check with the members of the African National Congress if you are done before we take the MKP?
Chair, good morning to you and good morning to all the participants in the meeting, honorable members and all colleagues, and compliment for the new year. No, on my part, Chairperson, I am fully covered by the intervention that was made by Honorable Sangon at the moment. Thanks.
Yeah. Not to put Honorable Ngola in a disadvantage, can I check with you, Honorable Ngola, if there is something you may want to say?
No, Chair, I'm fine and fully agree that there is no virtual arrangement. Witnesses must be dragged kicking and screaming to appear before the committee. Thank you so much.
Okay. And that the program should start with General Patlane. Do you support that?
Agreed, Chair.
Yes, Chair,
Okay.
yes, supported.
Okay. So the suggestion then will be that General Patlane should come on Wednesday, followed by General Khumalo on Thursday and Friday. Can I then move to the MKP?
Thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, it's good that this is a seventh administration. I think this Paul O'Sullivan think this is a sixth administration when they allow Pillay to give evidence why he was away. He must be here physically. We are not going to allow him. This is the seventh administration. MK party is here. Now, this European attitude, because he undermines everyone. He's got nothing to do that he is busy the security concern. Security concern when he's in charge of all the state agencies. But be that as it may, Chair, the issue of the judiciary, and I think my colleague has raised that we can't say that the evidence leader is very aware. We've raised names there. It's not that we never raise name of the judges or from that sector. We need to have them here. It's not only about the police. We have judgment which leaves much to be desired. They are not law unto themselves. If we say there's a constitution, whether we differ, some of us, we differ anyway with the constitution we have. That is the best in the world. It's debatable. But we can't have only the police here. When criminals are being allowed to run amok, white-collar crimes, by the same judiciary we are talking about. Mkhwanazi, the former Chief Justice, raised that as well. There's a lot of we can come back again and name these judges which we want to, if we agree. It can't be that they are law unto themselves. That is only about the police where there's problems. We've got a problem in the judiciary in this country, and it's a fact. There's no witch hunt in that. And Comrade Nomvalo, Honorable Member Nomvalo raised that this is not only about the police. Hence, we are having a joint committee here in this ad hoc committee. No one should feel like there's a witch hunt against anyone. The country wants to know the truth in this country. People of this country are tired. We need to have this judiciary as well. If it's a judge, it's a sitting judge. We have a sitting generals who appear before us. If Justice Mlambo has to come here, he must come here. We are not going to nest feelings and sentiments of other people. This country almost collapsed in front of our eyes because of the lack of ethics from all the state institutions. Now, we have to do our job, Chair, and make sure that we don't leave any stone unturned because of time. Because some people maybe are more important than others. Judges are human beings. If a judge has to come and appear before us, so be it. So I'm a bit disturbed when the evidence leader says he doesn't remember. No, you must remember, there's a list there. We mentioned names, even if we didn't agree. There's names there. Unless then we said this other committee was for the police only. In my view, Chair, I think we have to have that as a matter of agents. We have to complete, and if we agree about the other names, so be it. Let's do what we're supposed to do. We've agreed, Chair, that we're gonna have everyone here who's relevant. Judges are relevant in this ad hoc committee. They are not supernatural beings. We need them here. There's a lot of maleficence in this country. People suffered, and people are still suffering as we speak because of some of their judgments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I come in, Chair, briefly?
Yes, Honorable Nomvalo.
Yeah, no, let me start, Chair, by saying that we've been largely covered by some of the presentations or the points rather that have been submitted by the first speaker, Honorable Sangoni, on the issue of online interviews. We fully agree, we fully align ourselves with what she has said. There is no need to repeat it. And also, I've been covered by what the latter speaker has said. But in addition, Chair, we just want, I don't know what is the position of the legal team on this matter that I'm going to raise, but I was hoping that it is going to be part of their presentation. The issue of witnesses who have appeared before this committee and after their appearance, statements are made against the submissions that they have made, which might make their statements which they made before this committee to be a lie or to be untrue, and that would legally mean that they have lied under oath. Practically, the issue of Peggy, for instance. The committee would remember that when he came to the committee, he made some averments which were denied, and some were opposed by by Mr. Nhlanhla in Khosumampuru. So how do we deal with such matters which trigger a response? Because if what was said by Mr. Nhlanhla is anything to go by, then that means to a certain extent, Mr. Cele lied before this committee, but it would be incomplete to make that determination, having not given him an opportunity to reply to what has been raised or to what was raised by Mr. Nhlanhla against him. So are we not supposed maybe to call Peggy either for him to make a written submission, which were made against him by Mr. Nhlanhla, because it's going to be compulsory, or it's going to be necessary in future for us to make a determination relying on the submission on the submissions respectively that have been made by the two individuals that I'm speaking about. So I think, Chair, our view as the MK party is that we can't leave it hanging like that. Maybe we'll have to request for a written submission from Mr. Cele to reply to all the allegations that were made by Mr. Nhlanhla against him. Or maybe we invite him to come back to the committee and reply. I'm raising this because Mr. Cele is not part of the list that has been presented before this committee by the legal team. Then the second one, Chair, is that I think last year in one of our meetings, we agreed as the committee that we will have to call General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to come back, maybe at the tail end of our interviews, to afford him an opportunity, because 80%, if not 90%, and if not all witnesses have replied to allegations he made. Some have denied, some have rubbished all the allegations. So it will be procedurally fair for the committee to allow or to afford him an opportunity to come back. We even said when we made that submission that in a normal application proceeding, you allow an applicant to file an affidavit, you allow the respondent to reply, and you allow the applicant to come back. We said, even though we are of an understanding that this is not a litigation process, but it will be procedurally fair from an objective point of view to allow him to come back to reply to all the replies that have been made to his allegations. So I'm raising that, Chair, because it's also not part of the list, or of the names rather, that